What is up, Gadsden County 4-Hers, parents, and volunteers? I am back with another short video. As I said, I would talk about project books, and so we're going to kind of combine this with project books, end of the year awards, and we're just going to talk about it. So, the example project book I'm going to use today is the Chick Chain one. And first thing I want to talk about is completeness. 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 You want to make sure that all your information is in. So you can't wait to 2 weeks before project books are due to do one. Last minute stuff is rarely our best stuff. Now, I know that some people like to have like a month and they work well in that concentrated period, but we know that, 2 days before it's not going to happen and you're not going to get what you need, especially if you need signatures. So, completeness. So, if you have an area, so this record book and most record books have a part where you set out your goals, or some of them have goal pages, what you want to achieve. Make sure that you mention what you want to achieve in that project book. Some others ask you for specific details. So like this one, general records, it asks the question, did you hatch or purchase your chickens? And so if you hatch them, it has this little section where you have to put in details. Or if you purchase them, you have another section to put in details. But that section also requires a receipt. So just because you put in information there and you did not attach a receipt, your project book is not complete. Your project book is not complete. And we talked about the project book rubrics because, yeah. So completing your information is very important. A lot of the project books ask why you have chosen a project, and again, ask you about your goals. Then there's some information that it wants to know. So in the majority of project books, there's areas for you to put in your details about your leadership, your volunteer experiences, what award or recognitions you have achieved, 4-H learning activities or project sharing. So where you went to learn something, or if you shared your project. So if you get up and you talk about your project in a club meeting, it counts. Or in your after school club, it counts. Or if your primary organization has a designated 4-H day, and it's 4-H day for that youth service or youth organization, then you've shared. But if it's not 4-H day and they ask you to talk about your project, you still shared your project. So there's many examples. At community events, they may ask what you're doing and you choose to share about your exciting 4-H project. That's good. You can do that. Details. So record keeping is something you don't outgrow. I want to reiterate that. You do not outgrow. So the better you hone your skills in your youth, the better you will be as an adult. If some adults were honest, they will tell you they did not learn the skills, and so some of them are suffering from not having learned the skills to do record keeping. So details are important. So what if you get to an area and you have nothing to put in that area? First things first, do not leave it blank. You can say this area is not applicable, or you can put the N/A. Some people do that. One of the things in this project books, and then of course a lot of them have where you can tell your story, where you write your story about your project year. And there's guidelines in there, what you include about your story. If you write a horrible story, that counts against your project book. It counts against your project book. You write no story, it counts against your project book because your project book is not complete. So, for example, so a lot of production or entrepreneurial project books have a financial record. Okay, I had to let that come back to focus. Have financial records. So keeping up with your receipts, and those things are very important. Adults, don't we have to keep up with receipts? So learning this skill, it's not good. So they say, what is it? Be prepared when opportunities come. Don't try to get prepared when the opportunity has arrived. So be prepared when the opportunity comes. Don't try to get prepared when it has arrived. So in certain areas, if you have no information, then you write NA, or if there's no numerical value to put there, you write zero. You put the zero there. And I recommend that you have two. And you can always ask them, the 4-H office, to, if it's the glossy books, they're different because they are multiple year project books, the newer ones, but there are still some that are single year. And so those nice glossy ones, then you would ask for some copies made. For the print off ones, like the Chick Chain one, you can ask for multiple copies and just write and keep one as a journal of your year till it's time to do the finished product. And then you can submit that. So that is very, 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 very important for you to keep in mind. And especially for our young people that are learning how to write and those kind of things. Now, I know people like to type up their information, but parents, so we know kids use computers. They need to type. They need to type in their information because it's, again, it's the process of record keeping. So taking the one copy of it, print it off, and help them to write it out. Because see, what judges look at, they look at the age range, and then they also look at the languaging. Now we know there's some very articulate young people, just the way they write, those kind of things. But not everybody falls in that category. So we look at that. You know, so when I have to turn something in, I can tell that if it's that youth or that parent or grandparent or adult in their life who has done it, just because of the level of languaging. So helping them just to write out on what I would call just their general record keeping, one version of the project book, and then begin the process of creating that version that you want to submit for awards and recognition. Like I said, the majority of project books require pictures. So don't be scrambling for pictures. Remember to take pictures at the beginning of the project, in the middle a couple of times, and then at the end. And if they enter it in for a judging competition, or they are showing, whatever it may be, you capture pictures of that. But you also want to capture pictures of them doing community service, because that supports the project book. And again, that story, that is something that's very important. So this page has, if they were doing production, or the eggs lay, and it asks for information. And so what the judge will look at is, so this one says amount of feed added, number of birds, number that died or cold. Cold, you could have given them away to someone because you just had so many. And so you have to watch, because we are looking for details. And so if in March you were only feeding 10 pounds of feed in a month, and so then we get all the way to September, so in March, and you had 5 birds, okay, so you did 10 pounds of feed, you running 10 pounds of feed a month, and we get down to September and you're still feeding 10 pounds of feed, but you got 20 birds, and none had died, none were given away. So then we know that all you did was just wrote 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 down, and you weren't keeping track of your data. Mm. So, and then like on the back of this one, so this is a good example. It says merchandising summary. Now that the 4-H chick chain is over, do you plan to sell any eggs or any of your birds? You check yes or no, and then it says describe the methods you will use to sell your poultry and or eggs. And so because I chose maybe to keep everything, like we're going to eat our eggs because our chickens are not high production layers, and I just want to keep my birds. So in this part where it says description, I would write because we have low laying egg laying hens. We chose to keep our eggs, and we're going to keep our hens for this year. Boom. Do not leave that blank. And then when it says includes news clipping, flyers, agendas, programs from educational workshops that you attended related to your project, that you could have gone to something outside of 4-H, but it related to your project. You want to make sure that you capture that information. Include pictures from your projects from beginning to end, so it helps to share the story. And pictures should include captions. And so those things are very important. So when you do all of those things, you leave nothing blank. Again, if it does not apply to you, you write NA. If there's a part where you get to make choices and then it has a description box, don't put NA there. Just rephrase what you're going to do and type it in there. It doesn't have to be long, or write it in there. It doesn't have to be long. So I just use this book. So now we're moving into the award and recognition component. So the standard of excellence asks for several things from you, and it calls for the project record reports, which is your project summary. This one is a Clover bud, but all of that's on the Florida4H.org website. And by the way, some people wanted to know, but they do put forms in Word as well as PDF. So if you were inquiring, you wanted to know, yes. So the project summary book will ask you some of the things that maybe your project book does not ask, like what were your goals, what did you gain, as well as your project story. So when you're submitting your information for your standard of excellence as an individual, you want to submit your project book and you want to submit your project summary, both documentations, because it will be counted against you. This is the junior one, but we have one for Clover Buds. Clover Buds get general recognition, but even as a Clover Bud, the younger you start to learn how to do record keeping and how to submit documentation correctly, the better it will be. And many people have gone to fill out job applications and they did not complete the applications, automatically declined. That is the quickest way to call a stack of applications incomplete, 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 incomplete. And you talking about, oh, they just hating on me. No, they're not hating on you. You did not submit a complete application. So parents, as we train our children and teach them how to do this, it will be better for them. And the more they do it, the better it will be. Remember, I told you, knowledge is good. Knowledge is good. Skills are good. But the only way those two things get better is through experience, by doing. What is the slogan of 4-H? Learn by doing. So it is in the doing that they will get better. So this is the Word version of the standard of excellence applications for the junior. When you're setting your goals, this is the new 4-H year. Set your goals, what you want to achieve. Don't be a mystery. Oh, I wonder what it's going to be, what I'm going to get. If you aim without a target, then you hit it every time. Because there's nowhere. You have no target. So it doesn't matter where it lands. But if you have a focus that you're intentional on where you're going, then you're better able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So I encourage you to set your goals for this year and aim. Set your target. I want to get that highest standard. I'm almost out of 4-H, and I think the highest standard is Emerald. Yes, Emerald for certain age groups. The other age groups, it's not there. It's not available. Then pull that form, look at the criteria, get your information, lay out your game plan, and go for it. And make sure you capture your records, your information, so that you will be successful. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, and my word, volunteers. My word is you can do it. Oh, well, that's not a word. That's a phrase. You can do it. You can do it. So, anyway, yes. So this Facebook account will be open. It is Gaston County's 4-H's Facebook account, and so those videos that's up there will be available for you, even as I am preparing to retire. Um, just let me say, it's been a great pleasure. You can do it.